Self-sabotage is the act of willingly backtracking your own progress, but the reason behind this is commonly misunderstood. The reason for this is indefinite. It varies between people. However, if you stick with me through this video, I'll tell you exactly what to look for and how to escape this vicious cycle of self-sabotage. Because here's the truth. Most people think self-sabotage comes from laziness, lack of motivation, or not actually wanting your goals. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Most of the time, self-sabotage happens because you do want the goal. So much so that the fear of losing it, the fear of failing at it, or even the fear of achieving it becomes overwhelming. So overwhelming that your brain decides it's safer to stay exactly where you are. There's a concept called the upper limit problem, and once you understand it, your entire perspective on self-sabotage changes. The upper limit problem is basically your mind's internal thermostat for how much success, happiness, or progress you're allowed to have. Imagine you've been stuck at a certain level your whole life, emotionally, financially, physically, and suddenly you start rising above it. Your brain doesn't celebrate. It panics. It says, hold on, we've never been here before. What if something goes wrong? And because your brain loves safety more than success, it nudges you back down to where you started. Not because you're weak, but because you've hit your psychological ceiling. And this ceiling is something almost everyone experiences, especially high achievers. A lot of entrepreneurs only become really successful because they were unaware of how difficult the journey would be. If only they knew at the beginning how hard it actually gets, chances are many of them wouldn't have made it. There's a strange advantage in not knowing. When you start blindly, excited, and a little naive, you push forward without thinking too much about the difficulty. But the closer you get to your goals, the more reality hits. You start to understand the weight of what you're trying to accomplish. And that realization alone is enough to make some people freeze. Because suddenly the dream becomes real. And real is scary. As you approach the final 10% of any big goal, you finally see clearly what it's going to take. And ironically, the last 10% is almost always harder than the first 10%. Not because the work is harder, though it might be, but because you now know too much. You know the sacrifice, the pressure, and the responsibility that comes with succeeding. And sometimes you wish you could go back to the beginning, when it all felt exciting and simple. If only we could forget the difficulty of the things we want. If only we could go into the last 10% with the same blind optimism we had at the beginning. If that were possible, finishing would be easier than starting. But our minds don't work like that. As knowledge grows, so does fear. And this is one of the roots of self-sabotage. The fear of success. You don't sabotage yourself because you are afraid of failing. You sabotage yourself because you are afraid of what comes after success. What happens when you complete the thing you've been chasing for so long? What happens when the identity you've built around the pursuit of your goal disappears? Most people don't realize this, but having something to chase gives your life structure, purpose, direction. Even if it's stressful, even if it's exhausting, it's known. And the brain loves the known. Sometimes the journey becomes more comforting than the destination, because when you're chasing something, you know exactly what to do next. But when you actually reach it, you face the unknown again. This is why so many people get stuck repeating the same cycle. They get close, they feel the fear of what now, and they sabotage themselves just enough to stay in the chase. Because the chase is familiar, the destination is not. But what if you started viewing self-sabotage differently? What if instead of seeing it as a sign of weakness or failure, you saw it as preparation? You're not falling apart. You're being prepared for the version of you who can handle what you're asking for. Sometimes meeting your goals right now isn't meant to be. Maybe this setback, this confusion, this resistance, it's building something deeper within you, something you're going to need when you finally break through that upper limit wall. Think about it. If success came too early, before you had the emotional strength, the discipline, the resilience, you'd lose it anyway. Your mind isn't trying to destroy you, it's trying to protect you. It's trying to make sure you're ready. But there comes a point where you have to look at your life and ask yourself, is this protection or is this fear? Fear of the unknown. Fear of becoming someone new. Fear of letting go of who you've been. And escaping self-sabotage starts with recognizing that fear and refusing to let it make decisions for you. The truth is, every major transformation requires stepping into a space you've never occupied before. Of course it feels uncomfortable. Of course it feels terrifying. But discomfort is not a stop sign. It's a signal you're heading somewhere new. If you want to escape self-sabotage, you have to build a new relationship with success. You have to raise your internal thermostat. You have to show your mind that you can survive more happiness, more progress, more responsibility than it's used to. And the way you do that isn't through giant leaps. It's through small, consistent actions that slowly expand your capacity. Little wins. Small promises kept. Each one breaks away a piece of that upper limit wall. Each one teaches your brain that it's safe to grow. And this is the part most people miss. You don't overcome self-sabotage by fighting yourself. You overcome it by understanding yourself, by seeing the fear, acknowledging it, and moving forward anyway. The goal isn't to become fearless. The goal is to become someone who doesn't let fear dictate their life. Someone who recognizes that the last 10% being hard is not a sign to quit. It's a sign you're close. So if you've been stuck, repeating the same habits, giving up right before the finish line, procrastinating when things start going well, or losing momentum as soon as you gain it, you're not broken. You're not unmotivated. You're not lazy. You're simply brushing up against your upper limit. And now that you understand it, you can break through it. Step into the unknown. Finish that last stretch. Let success feel uncomfortable. Let growth feel weird. And most importantly, remind yourself every single day, the version of you you're becoming deserves the life you're chasing, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. If you heard something in this video that sparked a thought in your mind, feel free to let me know what it was down in the comments, because I love responding to you guys down below. And if you stuck around this far, please feel free to like and subscribe to show me that you guys are enjoying the content. But even if you don't, I'll be back with another video next week, giving you guys more self-improvement advice to better your lives. Thank you for watching.